You know that feeling when you're driving down the highway, the windows are down, the sun is shining, and you are just absolutely belting out the lyrics to your favorite upbeat summer anthem.
Oh, yeah. Best feeling in the world.
Right. You feel great, the vibes are, immaculate, and then for whatever reason, you actually look up the lyrics on your phone.
And it ruins everything.
Exactly. Suddenly, you realize you've been joyously screaming a deeply tragic, heartbreaking story at the top of your lungs for, like, the last 10 years.
It is a staggering moment of cognitive dissonance. I mean, the groove of the music completely betrays the actual message of the words.
Totally.
And you were left wondering how you missed something so incredibly obvious. We are just so easily tricked by rhythm.
We really are. And that strange disconnect between the shiny surface of what we consume and the messy reality underneath is exactly what we are getting into today.
It's a great topic.
Yeah, today's source material is a fascinating transcript from an August 2026 comedy radio show. It's called Past Week, Next Week. It's hosted by this duo, we'll just call them the radio hosts, and it features a colorful cast of characters, including a guy named Boogie and this mysterious texter who chimes in with random trivia.
Sounds pretty chaotic.
Oh, it is. And on paper, the show bills itself as nothing more than, quote, goofiness, fellowship, and fun. Nothing deep. Just guys bantering about pop culture.
But we know better.
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is to look past that disclaimer. Because buried inside their complaints about movies and their reactions to the news is a surprisingly profound commentary.
Yeah, a commentary on how we process information today.
Right, and how everyday people try to find authentic connection in a world that is just bombarding us with noise. Okay, let's unpack this.
So when you analyze the banter in this transcript, a clear philosophical theme emerges almost immediately.
Which is?
Well, human beings have a terrible habit of blindly consuming media without doing the work to understand what it is actually saying.
Yes. And the radio hosts perfectly illustrate this with a segment they call, wait, what's that song about?
I love this part.
It's so good. They take these massive, undeniable pop hits and strip away the instrumentation to just look at the text. Like, let's start with the ultimate beach vacation song, Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
Oh, man. Everyone knows that song.
Right. If you go to any beach resort, this song is playing. We have built an entire lifestyle brand of blenders and Hawaiian shirts and beach towels out of this one track.
But if you listen to the lyrics actually listen without the steel drums distracting you, it is fundamentally a tragedy.
It's so sad.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's about a man sitting alone, self-medicating with alcohol to cope with a failed relationship. And he's slowly, painfully coming to the realization that the breakup is entirely his own fault.
Wow. And they point the same phenomenon out with Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA.
Another huge one.
Yeah, for decades, politicians and citizens have played it at patriotic rallies, pumping their fists to that synthesizer hook. But in reality...
it's a devastating critique.
Right.
It's about the struggles of Vietnam veterans returning home to a country that refuses to support them.
Yeah. The radio hosts even compare the narrative of the song to the tragic, isolated character of Rambo in the movie First Blood.
Which is a heavy comparison. And then there's Rupert Holmes' Escape, universally known as the Pina Colada song.
I've sang this at karaoke so many times.
We all have. People sing it like it is a cute romantic comedy. But the actual narrative, it's about a husband and wife who are both incredibly bored in their marriage.
So they independently put out personal ads to cheat on each other.
Exactly. They accidentally discover each other at the bar, and instead of having a massive relationship-ending confrontation, they just kind of laugh it off over tropical drinks.
It's just mutual betrayal masked by a catchy chorus.
Completely.
The list the hosts run through is wild, by the way. Green Day's Good Riddance, subtitled Time of Your Life.
Played at every high school graduation.
Yes. But the title literally means, well, get out of my life, it's a bitter breakup song. And James Blunt's You're Beautiful.
About a guy acting like a creep on a subway.
Yeah, just obsessing over another man's girlfriend.
We also see this with Ben Folds Five's Brick, which was a massive radio hit with this beautiful piano melody that people just casually jammed out to.
But the lyrics are intense.
Deeply emotional. It's a heavy narrative of a high schooler taking his girlfriend to get an abortion.
Wow. And then there's the Killer's Mr. Brightside.
The ultimate millennial party anthem.
Right, but it's entirely about a guy spiraling out of his mind with delusional paranoia about his partner cheating.
Yeah, it's not a happy song at all.
I have to push back here for a second, though. Are the artists intentionally tricking us? Or are we just incredibly lazy listeners?
That is the million-dollar question.
Because it feels almost impossible that millions of people can completely misinterpret a song for 20 years.
What's fascinating here is the neurobiology at play.
Okay, tell me more.
It isn't necessarily laziness. It's how our brains prioritize auditory information. The human auditory cortex processes rhythm and melody far faster than our language centers can decode semantics.
Wait, really? So the beat literally hits us first?
Exactly. When a song has an upbeat tempo and a major key, your brain instantly receives a signal of safety and joy. That emotional response locks in before the Wernicke's area of the brain, which is what comprehends, speechfully processes the dark meaning of the words. We prioritize the biological feeling of the media over the literal fact of the media.
I mean, it's like wearing a t-shirt with a foreign phrase on it just because the font looks cool, right?
Yes, perfect analogy.
You are completely unaware that it translates to something deeply insulting. You're just walking around broadcasting a message you don't even understand because you like the aesthetic.
It is exactly what we do with music.
So to you listening right now, have you ever had a favorite song absolutely ruined by actually reading the lyrics? Because once you see the truth, you really can't unhear it.
You can't. You just can't. And that tension, our brain's desire for the emotional aesthetic to perfectly match the literal meaning, it bleeds directly into how the radio hosts discuss movies.
Oh, that makes perfect sense as a transition.
Right. We want things to make sense without requiring a massive cognitive load.
Yeah, we demand that our music delivers a straightforward vibe, and now audiences are increasingly demanding that movies deliver a straightforward narrative.
Which brings us to the superhero discussion.
Yes. In the transcript, the hosts talk about going to see a new Spider-Man movie in Kansas City. They saw it at Union Station on this massive 5-story extreme screen.
For only $8 a ticket.
And no tax.
A fantastic deal. But their praise for the movie had very little to do with the price of admission or even the visual spectacle.
Right. They loved the movie because it was a self-contained, standalone story.
They explicitly celebrate the fact that they didn't need to understand an overarching, complex cinematic universe to enjoy the film.
They mention a Doom storyline specifically. Like, they were just so glad they didn't have to know about it. They just wanted to watch a guy in a spider mask fight crime.
Simple as that.
But then they contrast this positive experience with a really harsh critique of a new animated series they call Bat Hat.
Yeah, which is like a noir take on Batman.
And they hated it.
Well, their frustration with Bat Hat is a perfect case study in cognitive overload.
Because of the changes they made.
Exactly. The show changed. Established decades-old characters, like they made the butler, Alfred, a heavy-set man called Cobbleworth.
Okay, weird choice.
And they made the Penguin and the Mad Hatter female characters.
Now, the hosts clarify they aren't inherently against changing characters.
Right, they aren't.
But they are incredibly frustrated because the show provides zero narrative background or justification for why these changes matter to the story.
It felt purely stylistic, completely lacking substance.
So what does this all mean? I really want to challenge this idea of quote-unquote lore fatigue.
Okay, let's hear it.
If audiences genuinely just want a simple, standalone story without doing homework, why do major studios keep greenlighting 20-part cinematic universes? Are the hosts just blinded by nostalgia for simpler times?
Well, studios continue to rely on interconnected universes because established intellectual property is viewed as a safer financial bet than original ideas.
Sure, that makes sense financially.
However, the hosts are articulating a very real cultural breaking point here. When a viewer sits down to watch a movie, they are entering a social contract with the storyteller.
Okay.
The viewer gives their time and attention, and the storyteller provides a cohesive, satisfying narrative arc.
Right.
For a long time, the appeal of a cinematic universe was that interconnectedness. It rewarded dedicated fans.
Yeah, it felt like an inside joke you got to be part of.
Exactly. But eventually, the web gets so tangled that consuming media starts to feel like an obligation.
Like homework.
Yes. When a creator demands that you watch 5 other television shows and read 3 wiki pages just to understand a villain's core motivation, or when they alter foundational character traits without doing the narrative work to explore the why, they are breaking that social contract.
They are asking the audience to do the heavy lifting of storytelling.
Exactly. We want the things we consume to have purpose.
Yeah, if a character changes, we want to know why. If we listen to a song, we want the lyrics to match the melody.
It's all about coherence.
But if fictional cinematic universes are becoming too chaotic and exhausting to track, The actual real-world news is 1,000 times worse.
Oh, the modern information diet is literally designed to be dizzying.
Which brings us to the Slate News quiz segment in our source material. And before we dive into the specific headlines, we need to be incredibly explicit with you, the listener.
Very important point here.
We are impartially reporting the news items exactly as they were presented in the August 2026 source material. We are taking absolutely no political sides here.
None at all.
Our goal is solely to analyze the type of information these hosts are processing and what that tells us about modern media consumption.
We are dissecting the psychological weight of the menu, not endorsing any of the items on it.
Perfectly said. So let's look at the sheer weight of the news these hosts digest in a single short segment.
It's a lot.
First, they discuss cyber attacks linked to Iranian hackers deliberately targeting water utilities.
Heavy.
Then they instantly pivot to massive wildfires in Washington state near Spokane. They detail the Autumn Lane, Fairfield, and Old Trails fires burning 10,000 acres.
Destroying structure.
And forcing 65,000 people to evacuate their homes.
Those are catastrophic, world-altering events happening on a massive scale.
Yes. And then the broadcast shifts to political and financial news. Capital One shutting down over 300 Trump-related accounts in 2021 after an internal review raised money laundering concerns.
Right.
And immediately following that, they discussed the Supreme Court rejecting Trump's executive orders that were aimed at restricting birthright citizenship.
It is an absolute barrage of high-stakes information.
Spanning international cyber warfare, climate disasters, constitutional law, and financial scandals.
But the psychological whiplash really happens because of what comes next.
Oh, right.
Because woven seamlessly into this heavy news is bizarre trivia provided by their mysterious texter.
In the exact same breath as 65,000 people fleeing wildfires, they talk about a man named David Rush.
What did he do?
He set a Guinness World Record by balancing 195 rolls of toilet paper on his head for 30 seconds.
I mean, you can't make this up.
And an Australian town crier who set a record for the loudest shout at 122.4 decibels.
Which, by the way, is as loud as a running chainsaw.
Just insane. But here's where it gets really interesting. I want to push back on the idea that this is a uniquely modern problem.
Okay.
Haven't humans always had to deal with bad news and weird trivia? Why is scrolling through an iPhone screen today fundamentally different from someone reading a newspaper in 1920?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the difference lies in a concept called context collapse and the removal of physical hierarchy.
Context collapse, okay.
In 1920, the newspaper provided geographic and spatial filters. The impending war was in massive font on the front page.
Right, it grabbed your attention first.
Exactly. And the local man balancing apples on his head, that was buried on page 12 in a tiny column. The medium itself told your brain how to weigh the importance of the information.
Oh, wow. Today, there is no spatial hierarchy.
None. International cyber threats, legal battles over birthright citizenship, and a guy stacking toilet paper all arrive through the exact same glowing rectangle.
In the exact same font.
At the exact same volume. Your brain is asked to synthesize existential dread and pure absurdity simultaneously.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. Historically, our neurological systems evolved to process local threats. You only needed to know what was happening in your immediate village.
Right.
Processing the tragedies of the entire globe alongside viral stunts creates a state of chronic cognitive overload.
Because your brain just can't physically care about all of it at once.
Shouldn't.
When you are overloaded with that level of noise, the natural defense mechanism is to become numb. You start assuming you understand the state of the world just because you read the headlines. In the exact same way, you assume you understand a pop song just because you hum along to the chorus.
You skim the surface to survive the flood.
So how does a person stay grounded when their daily information diet is that chaotic?
Well, you have to deliberately seek out friction.
Friction?
Yeah, you have to break the algorithm of your daily routine by forcing real-world analog connections.
And the radio hosts actually attempt this. They feature a segment called the August Quest Challenge.
Which is such a great idea.
It is. They pull random social challenges out of a bag and have to complete them in the real world. It's basically an exercise in fighting back against that numbness.
The challenges they pull are deceptively simple, but they force the hosts out of their comfortable, curated digital bubbles.
Like what?
Well, one challenge is to start a journal with quote-unquote no rules. The prompt explicitly notes that messy pages hold the most truth.
Oh, I like that.
It's an exercise in stopping the constant curation of our thoughts for a public audience and returning to private, unpolished honesty.
Another challenge involves reconnecting with an old friend. One host completes this by simply texting a guy named Terry, breaking a silence that had stretched on for months or years.
But the most profound challenge they draw is brilliantly straightforward. Talk to a stranger. Real life has better characters than your feed.
Wow, real life has better characters than your feed. That's good.
This specific quest highlights the exact danger of skimming the surface of life.
Right, because one of the hosts goes to a local spot and strikes up a conversation with an older man.
And based on the man's aesthetic and age, the host immediately categorizes him as an old hippie.
He builds an entire assumed backstory for this guy in 2 seconds.
We all do it.
But as he actually talks to him, he learns the man's name is James, and James is a Vietnam veteran.
He is incredibly proud of his military service, but he also plays the guitar and creates art.
James completely shatters the host's historical assumptions. The host realizes you cannot apply the simplistic binary labels of the 1960s, where you are categorized as either a counterculture hippie or a pro-war military guy, to complex human beings.
James existed entirely outside the boxes the host tried to put him in.
Exactly.
Because the digital world trains us to rely on heuristics, mental shortcuts, where we judge an entire person based on a profile picture or a 2-second visual scan.
We desperately want people to be as simple as the characters in a bad movie.
But analog conversation dismantles those shortcuts instantly.
Stepping out of that curated bubble doesn't always go smoothly, though.
Oh, definitely not.
Sometimes seeking out that friction forces you to confront your own ignorance in deeply uncomfortable ways.
Like the Florida trip story.
Yes. The other host shares a story that perfectly illustrates this. So he's in Florida, and he discovers this amazing instant Vietnamese coffee called Cafe F, made by a coworker.
Right. He's energized, having a great trip.
Yeah, having a great time. Later in the week, he is in his hotel lobby and spots a mother with a completely shaved head, like a tight buzz cut. And she's standing next to her young daughter, who is clearly undergoing chemotherapy.
It is a striking, deeply moving image of familial solidarity.
The host immediately assumes the mother shaved her head in Buddhist solidarity to support her daughter's medical battle.
Which is a beautiful thought.
It is. He builds this whole touching, heroic narrative in his head without ever speaking to them. But the story takes a turn later that night.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the host is coming back to the hotel after a night of heavy drinking with a friend. They're waiting for the elevator in this echoey concrete parking garage, and the mother and daughter pull up.
And what happens?
The drunk friend notices the mother's buzz cut and loudly blurts out, "What's the story with them? Are they Buddhist?"
Oh no. This raises an important question about the sheer panic of having our internal assumptions exposed to the real world.
Total panic. The host is mortified. He aggressively shoves his friend into the elevator and yells, "The baby has cancer! Get in the elevator!"
Oh my goodness.
I know. But as the metal doors are slowly closing in this incredibly resonant concrete garage, the host realizes that he likely just shouted his grand, entirely unverified assumption about this family's deeply personal medical trauma directly at them.
He tried to be the hero of the narrative, and instead, he became the villain of their evening.
Exactly.
And whether it is assuming the meaning of a catchy pop song, or assuming the political ideology of a veteran based on his haircut, or assuming the religious motivations of a mother who shaved her head, our brains are desperate to fill in the blanks.
We just crave the path of least resistance.
We do. We want the world to make sense instantly without doing the work. But when we step out of our screens and engage with the messy, unpredictable real world, we are forced to realize that our mental shortcuts are often incredibly incomplete.
Or just flat out wrong. The messy pages really do hold the most truth. So think about your own routine. When was the last time you actively completed a quest in your own life?
It's a great question.
When did you purposefully introduce friction into your day, breaking your routine just to talk to a stranger without checking your phone?
For a lot of people, putting down the phone and initiating an unscripted conversation is a terrifying prospect.
Truly.
But it is arguably the only effective antidote to the cognitive whiplash of the modern world.
It really is. So let's retrace the journey we took today. We started by looking at how our brains prioritize a catchy melody over tragic lyrics, allowing us to happily sing along to devastating songs without understanding a word.
Right.
We explored how that same psychological desire for straightforward, easy-to-digest meaning makes us reject complex cinematic universes in favor of simple, standalone stories.
And then the news.
Yeah, we navigated the sheer context collapse of the modern newsfeed, where international crises are flattened into the exact same space as bizarre world records. And ultimately, we discovered that the only way to stay grounded through all of this noise is to force yourself into the awkward, beautiful friction of real-world human interactions.
I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on today.
Go for it.
We spend so much of our lives optimizing our time. We measure our days by the sheer volume of information we consumed, or how many deep dives we finished, or how efficiently we checked tasks off our to-do list.
Always trying to be productive.
Right. But what if we completely flipped the metric of a successful day? What if, instead, we measured our days by how many assumptions we successfully unlearned?
Oh, wow.
If you treated tomorrow like your own personal August quest and actually engaged with the messy, uncurated world around you, what hidden truth might you discover about the people standing right in front of us?
What an incredible challenge. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the surface level of everything you read and hear, and the next time you find yourself screaming the lyrics to your favorite summer anthem with the windows down, maybe take a second to ask yourself what story you're actually telling. See you next time.